What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is now out of his agreed-upon contract 2-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. And the birds are chirping, and they are chirping saying this. And this is what they chirp. They chirp that now Canelo Alvarez will sign with Haymon with the PBC in order to get the Callum Smith fight complete, which he will now not need Eddie Hearn for anything because he has beat Eddie Hearn's matchroom fighter and he is out of contract with Eddie Hearn. Okay, let me counterpunch. First off, half of that is true. Canelo Alvarez is a free agent, as he explained in his latest interview, which was Ben Singer, I think it was. Very in-depth interview with that journalist. And he was saying it's the best thing he ever could have done. Now, for the people saying that he will sign with Haymon just to get a Caleb Plant fight, first of all, that's not confirmed. There is no source saying that. Those are just people that have vested interest in PBC or vested interest in a super fight, or should I say a superstar leaving Eddie Hearn because they hate Eddie Hearn. The usual suspects, needless to say. And what they're saying is that Canelo will leave Eddie Hearn. Okay, well, Canelo can leave Eddie Hearn, but it's not because you want him to. But it's not because there's sources that saying that he's going to sign with Haymon. Because that was what was rumored before. Oh, he's going to Haymon at the PBC. That's what's going to happen. He's going to go, because you have Richard Schaefer over there already, and he was good friends with Richard Schaefer, so that wouldn't be too far off the beaten path. But why would it be preached for him to go to the PBC? Because the usual suspects, people, they will be quick to tell you something that they desire personally and use it as source, or try to use it as truth on a whim or on a desire. Like, yeah, I hope Canelo Alvarez goes with Haymon, so Haymon will have a superstar in his grasp, right? Therefore, I'm going to make a video about Canelo Alvarez going towards that, or Haymon, and claiming that a source is backing what you're talking about. No, you're just talking about something that you want to happen. That doesn't mean that you've seen a source. That doesn't mean that something is true that's making us believe that. No, it's nothing to believe. It's something that's desired, something that you desire. You may want to, in fact, want that thing to go through, like for example, Canelo and Charlo. That's just like saying, hey, I really want a Canelo-Charlo fight, so I'm going to make a video because I really want to see that fight, saying that sources tell me that this fight is taking place. But that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is, Canelo Alvarez is free to do whatever he's going to do. But as far as logic tells you that he doesn't have to be signed with a contract or in a contract agreement with Eddie Hearn to still work with Eddie Hearn. Look at Mikey Garcia, for example. Okay, and I touched on this a little bit during my live stream, so let me give it to you guys now. Mikey Garcia had a 1-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. That's all he needed to know the professionalism of Eddie Hearn and how they operate. Okay, that level of professionalism and the way they operate. And now Mikey Garcia is going to be fighting up under Eddie Hearn again. That's how it works. So you don't have to bond someone to a contract to get them to work with you. You just have to do a good job, pay them, and do what you say you're going to do. The relationship between Canelo and Eddie Hearn are very close now. Go figure. And the weird thing about that is, and it's actually funny, that people hate that. People would love for Canelo Alvarez to leave Eddie Hearn because they don't like the idea of Eddie Hearn having Joshua and Canelo. It sounds like a monopoly. In fact, hey, I wouldn't disagree with it. But at the end of the day, if you're a promoter and you're doing a good job and you have a good reputation and you have all the birds in the nest or the hens in the nest, you don't have to go chasing the wolves or the foxes. Okay, so that's the deal. Everyone has their time. Everybody has a certain amount of interest when it comes to promoters. Some promoters are hot right now, then they might fizz out later. You know, like Don King and Bob Arum, all those guys had their day. Okay, so you know, even Oscar De La Hoya, you know, everyone had their time. Now it's Eddie Hearn's time. Okay, so as far as Canelo having to sign with Al Haymon, no. He just needs to work with Eddie Hearn, and then Eddie Hearn needs to do what he says he's going to do. If he can deliver, he can deliver. But if he can't, I'm pretty sure Canelo's going to find another way to get that fight done without Eddie Hearn. So, you know, so in that case, Eddie Hearn needs to work his professional promotional magic on getting that fight for Canelo Alvarez to continue that relationship. See, you don't need a contract binding a person if you have a business relationship with that person. And last Saturday was very, very good. It was very professional, you know, and honestly, I think Eddie Hearn is partially the reason why Canelo now is coming out of his shell, because now he has to talk more English to a guy because he has to hear what that guy's doing. So he's able to now exercise his English speaking skills, which he already has. He ain't just learned 2 years ago, people. Canelo Alvarez has learned English probably since he was a kid. He just didn't have to use it or practice it. Anything that you know but you don't use, you're always going to be rusty. So certain words you're not going to get to, and I can definitely relate. Okay, you put me in a Spanish-speaking country, I'm going to speak Spanish. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, despite where my origin is. So with Canelo Alvarez is coming out of his shell more. He's speaking more English, and that makes him more marketable. Okay, so it's amazing how a language barrier can, a language or knowing a language or speaking a language can open up barriers, you know, for your career, you know. So that's why he will be more, he's already more popular, made more money than someone like Julio Cesar Chavez. But Chavez and guys like Felix Trinidad, they will always be bound by that particular reality, is they do not speak English. You know, so they would be so much marketable if they could understand, and they didn't need interpreters all the time, which Canelo still uses at times. But you know, he still knows how to talk. I seen an interview. This guy spoke English the whole time. He was telling a guy about his big mansion that he just bought or whatever. So it is what it is. But no, Canelo Alvarez is a free agent. You know, will he leave Eddie Hearn? Chances are no. The only reason he will leave Eddie Hearn is because Eddie Hearn couldn't deliver. Because Eddie Hearn works for Canelo. Eddie Hearn works for Dillian White. Eddie Hearn works for Anthony Joshua. That's the difference between him and other promoters. So don't get it twisted where people think that, oh, well, hey, you know, Canelo's over and just, you know, now Eddie Hearn, he doesn't have Canelo no more. That's not necessarily true. So don't get pissed off or butthurt, people, the usual suspects, when you see Eddie Hearn working with Canelo again. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on that subject. You guys tell me what you think about Canelo Alvarez still working with Eddie Hearn. Will he still work with Eddie Hearn? You guys leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.